When all these countries, including the US in some states, decided it was a good idea to go full-blown electric. Oh, we're gonna aim for only electric vehicles by 2030. Oh, by 2035, we're gonna outlaw gas vehicles as their energy prices are skyrocketing and their grids can't handle the strain. Switzerland has other plans. Switzerland considers electric vehicle ban to avoid blackouts. Doesn't this instill you with confidence? Doesn't this make you want to go out and get an electric vehicle if you live in Europe, or specifically Switzerland? No, Switzerland could limit the use of electric vehicles in cases of electricity supply shortages this winter under a new four-step plan to prevent power cuts and blackouts. This is actually their plan, by the way. If they have everyone on an electric vehicle and the entire power grid has been downgraded to a smart grid where they can specifically cut power to devices, like individual types of devices, this is the government's way of being able to control your mobility completely. Oh, yeah, well, you're going to crack down and become fascist? I'm just going to leave. Nah, it's okay. We're just going to disable the charging ability on your car. Good luck. So to ensure energy security this winter, Switzerland could become the first country to limit the driving and use of electric vehicles, which I think they want exclusively by the next few years. German daily Der Spiegel reports, citing multiple media sources on the Swiss four-stage action plan to avoid blackouts. Driving electric vehicles could be banned in Switzerland unless in cases of absolute necessary journeys in stage 3 of power conservation plans. The country also plans a stricter speed limit on highways in the recently proposed action plan, which has yet to be adopted. Yeah, that's not going to change anything, man. Switzerland typically imports electricity from France and Deutschland to meet all of its power demand, but this year the supply from its neighbors is constrained. Dude, Switzerland is not that big. I bet the entire country might be sustainable on a single nuclear power plant. Just get your own. Now, in France, the nuclear fleet availability is much lower than usual. Why would it be? Which has led to the country becoming a net importer of electricity after decades of being an exporter. Is it because you're shutting down your nuclear power plants and replacing them with fans? The French electricity grid's at higher risk of strained power supplies in January of current year +1 than previously estimated due to lower nuclear power generation. Well, shut down a few more of them. What's the worst that can happen? The country could face the risk of power cuts this winter when the electricity supply may not be enough to meet demand. So Javier Piekacic, the head of the head grid operator at RTE, said earlier this week. In Deutschland, the situation is similar as utilities are having to make do with no Russian pipeline gas supply. Hey, but you totally stuck it to Russia with them sanctions, right? No, Switzerland's power supply remains uncertain for the winter, and troubles with enough energy, also electricity capacity cannot be ruled out. The Swiss Federal Electricity Commission, ELCOM, said as early as in June, due to the expected lower availability of French nuclear power generation and of France's power exports to Switzerland, the Swiss imports of power generated in France is likely to be much lower this winter compared to previous winter seasons. This is why it's actually it's dangerous to import things that are as vital as energy. Now, importing entertainment, okay, that's one thing, but importing something that's vital to your country's existence, you might want to have a backup plan, So therefore, Switzerland may need to cover its electricity imports needs of around 4 gigawatt hours from imports from its other neighbors, Deutschland, Austria, and Italy. However, the power export availability of those countries would heavily depend on available fossil fuels, mostly natural gas, according to ELCOM. But how are those renewable energy sources working out for you, though? Probably not very well, huh? Man, if you just replaced all those nuclear power plants with solar farms, you wouldn't be having this problem, am I right? Yeah, never mind. You'd have to, pretty much bulldoze the entire country and turn it into a shiny solar panel. But that's okay. You could do that. Now, for what it's worth, if you happen to live in an area that has active geothermal energy sources, that's actually a good renewable energy source. Hydroelectric is pretty good as well until you have a drought anyway. But really, the best option is nuclear. Like solar, I think solar is great as a backup. Like solar is good. Like, say, if you have a house and you just slap a few solar panels on the roof to maybe save some money or or charge up a backup battery for power outages and whatnot. Like solar is good, small scale. It doesn't really scale up very well. And then wind power, like God, it has all the disadvantages of solar, but is usually less reliable. Unless you live in a place like I do, where it's windy as fuck all the time. Yeah, I'm thinking if I was going to get any of them, I would actually get wind power before solar, because wind is one thing we never lack where I live. But nuclear is the best option. But that's the one they're all moving away from. It's almost as if maybe they have some conflict of interest. Maybe that them or their families invested some money into a lot of these alternative, energy production companies and methods, as green energy. Maybe they have a reason they're trying to push specifically that.